If you're reading this, you've probably gone shopping early in the morning at least once in your life. My name's Maya, and I'm 26. I live in a small apartment outside the city, and I'm not the type of person who goes looking for trouble. I wasn't chasing anything luxurious, just a laptop my younger brother needed. I thought I'd beat the crowd, grab the deal, come home, make tea, and start my day. Simple, normal, safe. But nothing that day was normal, and after what happened in that mall, I don't think I'll ever step into any sale again. That morning on Black Friday, I woke up before my alarm, 4:30. The house was silent, and my brother, he was still asleep, his books scattered all over the dining table again. I remember covering them with a newspaper, thinking he'd wake up in a panic if he saw the mess. I wasn't excited about the sale, but I just wanted to get that laptop before it went out of stock. One good thing for his studies, that's all. Outside, the lane was empty. Dogs were sleeping in the middle of the road. The kind of stillness that always makes you feel you're either too early or too late. The drive to the mall felt unusually calm. Roads were empty except for a few cars with fogged windows and caffeine-fueled drivers. I remember thinking this is the quiet before the shopping storm. Riverside Mall looked absolutely normal. Bright lights, long lines, people in hoodies holding coffees, security guards already yelling about forming proper queues. That normalcy is the reason I didn't listen to my gut. I headed straight to the electronics store. They always open early for Black Friday. And that laptop I needed for my brother. It was listed only at this location. But as soon as I turned the corner, I stopped. There wasn't a line. There wasn't a crowd. The shutters were pulled down, and taped on the metal was a single printed sheet of paper.
Store closed due to a technical issue. Please visit our old location for today's sale.
The new address was printed below. I recognized it immediately. Their old store, the one they shut down almost 2 years ago. It wasn't exactly far, but it was in a part of town people don't go to unless they have a reason. An industrial area, fewer houses, more warehouses, and at that hour, empty. I actually laughed when I read the sign, not because it was funny, but because it felt dumb. Why would they relocate hundreds of Black Friday customers to an old shut-down branch? A few other shoppers walked by, looked at the sign, cursed under their breath, and left. Everyone else turned around and went for other stores. No one wanted the hassle. I should have been like them. I should have walked away. But that laptop was sold for half its price, and my brother needed it. And I kept telling myself, it's just a store, Maya, not a haunted house. I stood there staring at the sign, convincing myself out of common sense. Then I noticed someone standing near the shutter. A man in a gray hoodie. Not staring at me, just waiting, like he was also deciding whether to go. Our eyes met for a second and he gave the smallest nod. Not creepy, not weird, just a kind of "you too" acknowledgement. It made me feel less stupid. So I went back to my car, typed the old store address into GPS and started driving. That was the last moment everything still felt normal. The GPS said 15 minutes, but the road felt longer than that. Maybe because the sky was still pitch black and the cold made every street look unfamiliar. Halfway there, the city thinned out. Houses disappeared, libraries, cafes, apartments, all replaced by long stretches of warehouses with locked gates and yellow security lights buzzing overhead. I kept telling myself this was fine. Stores relocate temporarily all the time. Maybe they had a power issue. Maybe some pipe burst. Maybe corporate did something stupid. There were a dozen valid reasons. Still, my fingers tightened around the steering wheel the closer I got. The old location was tucked behind a row of abandoned units. I remembered coming here once years ago before they shut it down. Back then it was busy. Today it looked like the set of a crime documentary. The signboard was gone. The windows were dusty, and the huge parking lot had only 3 cars. One of them I recognized, a silver Honda with a cracked left taillight. The man in the gray hoodie. He must have left right after me. Maybe he wanted the same laptop. Maybe he lived closer. And that comforted me a little. Just a little. At the entrance, a large poster was taped to the door. Black Friday extended use side entrance. Not printed, not laminated. Just a regular A4 sheet crookedly stuck with tape. I stood there staring at it. My brain did that annoying thing where it whispers questions instead of answers. Why is a multi-million-dollar chain using printer paper? Why is the main door still locked? Why does the parking lot feel watched? I should have left. Every instinct in my body knew something wasn't right. But humans are great at convincing themselves they're overreacting, and I'm embarrassingly human. I walked along the side of the building. The concrete was cracked, weeds growing through, no cameras, no security lights, just the dim glow of the street lamp behind me. I found the side entrance. The metal door was slightly open. Not enough to look inside, just enough to show it wasn't locked. And then, a voice from behind made me jump.
You here for the laptop too?
It was the gray hoodie guy, closer than I expected. He wasn't smiling, but he didn't look dangerous either, just cold and impatient.
They said only this branch has early stock. Corporate mess, I guess.
I nodded, pretending I found that explanation reassuring. He pushed the door open a little more and walked in, just like that. No hesitation. I waited a few seconds, maybe to see if I heard anyone inside, maybe to check if the lights came on. I'm not sure. Then I followed him. The interior was lit, but barely. Only a few ceiling lights were working, casting long shadows across empty shelves. It didn't look like a functioning store. It looked like a place halfway through being shut down completely. Boxes were stacked everywhere, plastic wrapping on the floor, no music, no staff at the counters. The gray hoodie man walked ahead slowly, scanning the aisles.
We're early, I guess.
We're early, I guess, he muttered. But something about his voice had changed. Softer, almost distracted. I took out my phone to check the time. 5:47 a.m. And then I realized something that made my stomach twist. I had zero signal. The moment I saw the no signal text at the corner of my phone, something in me dropped. Not fear exactly. More like the realization that I had officially stepped outside the safety net I rely on without thinking. I put the phone back in my jacket and forced myself to walk. The air inside the store smelled musty, like the place hadn't been properly cleaned in months. Every footstep echoed too loudly, not because the store was big, but because it was empty. Gray Hoodie walked deeper into the aisles. His pace wasn't eager anymore, it felt cautious, like he was trying to listen for something. Then I noticed something odd. There were no price tags on the shelves. Not a single one. Just rows of products stacked in a hurry, no labels, no signs, no banners. Black Friday stores are chaotic, but this wasn't chaos. I tried calling out, "Hello, anyone here?" But my voice sounded embarrassingly small in the dead air. No answer, no footsteps, no beeps from a scanner, no carts squeaking, nothing. That's when I saw them. 2 employees, or at least people wearing the store's uniform color. 1 man, 1 woman, both standing near the customer service desk. Not talking, not moving, just standing. Their backs were partially turned like they were focused on something below the counter. I almost walked up to them. Habit, I guess. Customers see staff, they approach staff. But something stopped me. The weirdest part, their vests looked new, perfectly clean, too clean for a dusty, half-abandoned branch. Gray Hoodie had stopped walking too. He was staring at them from the end of the aisle, shoulders stiff, like he was trying to decide if he should call out to them. I whispered, "Do you think the sale is even happening here?" He didn't turn, didn't answer. His breathing sounded heavier than before. I took 1 slow step backward, the kind you take when you don't want to alarm anyone or anything. My hand brushed against a shelf and a small box fell. The sound cracked through the store like a gunshot. The 2 employees turned their heads at the exact same moment. Not fast, not jerky, just together, as if someone had pressed a button. Both of them stared directly at me. No greeting, no expression, just blank faces. My throat tightened. Their eyes didn't look confused or irritated. They looked, assessing, like they were trying to decide something. Gray Hoodie muttered, I think we should find the stockroom." But the way he said it didn't sound like he wanted a laptop anymore. It sounded like he wanted to get away from those people. I took another step back, slow, quiet. My brain was doing the math. 2 employees, 1 exit door behind me, an entire store full of blind spots. And then the most ordinary thing in the world made every alarm inside me go off. The employees started walking toward us. Not fast, not threatening, just purposeful, straight, as if they had suddenly remembered a task. They were walking like people who didn't want us there. That was the moment I finally accepted it. This door wasn't open early. It wasn't relocated for the day, and we had walked into a place we were never supposed to enter. The two employees kept walking toward us with that steady, expressionless pace. Not rushing, not threatening, but not stopping either. The kind of walk that tells you you're not supposed to be there, and they finally noticed. I glanced at Grey Hoodie. He was breathing too fast now, shoulders tense. He whispered, "Let's just go. I don't like this." We both turned back toward the side entrance, and that's when my stomach dropped. The side door was closed, completely shut, firm, as if it had never been cracked open. I stared at it and felt my pulse thump in my ears. I tried the handle. It didn't move. No rattle, no click, no give, like someone had locked it the moment we stepped inside. I didn't even have time to panic, because the employees were closer now, less than 10 feet away. And behind them, I realized something terrifying. There were more people inside the store. Not staff, regular shoppers, or people dressed like regular shoppers. It hit me like ice water. These people weren't shopping, they were waiting. For what? I didn't want to know. Grey Hoodie whispered, "Front entrance, go." We didn't run. Running would have made everything worse. We just walked fast, pretending to be calm, weaving between the aisles. Every few seconds I glanced behind us. The employees had turned again, following, quietly, not calling out, not yelling at us to stop, just following. The main checkout area was ahead, rows of empty counters, lights flickering overhead. The front entrance should have been straight past them. I felt relief building until there was someone standing by the entrance. A man, big, wearing the same store vest. He stood directly in front of the sliding doors, hands by his sides, staring straight ahead like a statue. Grey Hoodie whispered a single word. Blocked. For a moment, everything froze. My breath, my thoughts, and the sound around us. I felt trapped between 3 employees and a store full of silent strangers. And then instinct kicked in. Real, surviving instinct. I grabbed Grey Hoodie's jacket sleeve. "Stockroom," I whispered. "Those doors always lead somewhere. Staff hallway, back exit, something." He nodded immediately. No debate, no hesitation. We moved toward the back of the store, toward the employees-only door that was half open. The closer we got, the more everything felt wrong. The hum of a generator, a faint metallic smell, the weird quiet behind that doorway. But the footsteps behind us were getting louder. Inside the stockroom, the air felt colder, a maze of shelves, boxes, dark corners, a single emergency light flickering like it was dying. We shut the door behind us, but we didn't lock it. Locking it would have confirmed to whoever was outside that we were hiding. We moved fast, weaving through the shelves, searching for any sign of a back exit. There, a red door with peeling paint, exit written above it in half-dead letters. No alarm system, no camera, no keypad, and just a metal bar. I pushed it. It didn't budge. Grey Hoodie pushed harder. Nothing. The fear that crawled up my spine was different this time. Not panic. Realization. These exits weren't supposed to work. They wanted people going in, not out. Before we could think anymore, the stockroom door behind us creaked open. Footsteps entered. Slow, heavy, too close. Grey Hoodie looked at me. I looked at him. No words, just a silent deal. One of us finds a way out, the other follows, no matter what. I scanned the room. Shelves, boxes, concrete. No windows. And then I spotted it. A loading bay ramp. The metal shutter was halfway down, not enough space for a car, but enough for a person. I pointed, and he understood instantly. We sprinted, boxes toppled behind us. We dropped to the floor and slid under the shutter. The concrete tore my jacket, something scraped my knee, but cold air hit my face. We were out. I don't know if anyone followed us. I didn't look back. We just ran across the empty loading dock, into the parking lot, toward the road, toward light, toward anything that wasn't that place. We didn't stop until we reached the main street. And when we finally did stop, gasping for air, shaking, trying to understand what had just happened, I turned to Gray Hoodie. He was gone. I didn't report it. Not then, not the next day. Because who believes a story like this? But 2 days later, while scrolling through the local news on my phone, I saw something that made my entire body go cold. I saw his photo, a missing persons alert. And the worst part? I can't prove anything, not to myself, not to anyone, not even in this letter. All I know is that I followed a stranger into a building that wasn't supposed to be open, and I was the only one who walked back out.